I messed up. I decided to take my Google Home and put it in here. What's 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2 is 4.
It works great except for one small problem. It's now big. And it no longer fits right behind my skull cookie jar. Which means it had to go on one of the front bookcases. And that of course displaced a bunch of stuff, which displaced more stuff, and now I have to redesign this whole bookshelf. It has been a very hectic week. This one just had a surgery, so I'm looking after her. She's currently suffering the cone of shame, but she'll be good in a couple of days. I also have a bunch of nonsense clutter everywhere and basically every Lego set that I've bought this year. So we're going to start with the very basics. Step 1, clear the clutter. Step 1, clear the clutter. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just take a giant trash bag and go around and pick up any garbage that you see and throw it in. It's also important to group like items. For instance, this is all my gift wrapping stuff. However, the gifts are over there. So I'm just going to pile them all nicely together. You might be thinking, Andrew, it is only mid-November. Why do you have all of your gifts done already? And that's because either I do it way in advance, or I wait till the very last minute. And this way, I've got lots of time to prepare what people like. This little boy is not a gift. He is just stretching. I definitely didn't make that haul video the other week and then just pile everything over here. That would be careless of me. But really, I should bring those upstairs. Pepper, of course, has not cleaned her room, so let's help her with that. Pepper, you have too much stuff. I want to go through that and clear out the toys she doesn't use anymore, but I know that's going to be a huge project in itself, and then I won't do the other projects. She's mad that I tidy her room. This is my little board game area, and by little I mean it is an entire bookshelf that I made, but it's completely full, and I've got more board games to put in there, and 2 more in the cart. Let me go get them. These were some fun thrift finds when I found them. For instance, this Illustrated World of Tolkien was $150 full price, but I got it for $15. This I got thrifting, and I put it in my car because a lot of people said it was fun, but I really haven't had a chance to play it. It actually does belong in that little empty slot on the shelf. And then this, I have played Ticket to Ride, but this is the 10th anniversary one, which is very expensive. It's a little damaged on the corners. Hi, Pepper. But I can fix it up. And if I do that, I can replace the original one. Another board game I forgot I had in that huge pile was the Stranger Things game. I got it at a swap meet for a good price, but the only reason I got it is because it has, come on, open up. I need 2 hands. D&D style miniatures of all the main characters. Now, do I really care about the game? Do I really care about the miniatures though? Yes, and I'll paint those one day. For the moment, I'm going to put this one back. There we go. And I'll put these ones in a nice pile where I can see them and they'll bug me, but they aren't actively in the walkway. Oh no, there's another one. I don't have a problem. I definitely don't get a bunch of games because I think the miniatures are really cool and I just want to paint them and then I never actually do. I promise. I do want to show you this nifty one real quick. Quest of the Magic Ring is an illegal Lord of the Rings game. This board game is very obviously based on Lord of the Rings, for in fact you have the White Wizard and the Ring Bearer, but it even states their names like Gandalf the Grey. The only problem with this was they didn't have any rights to use Lord of the Rings. And this got all the way onto store shelves in the 1970s before it was quickly discovered, hey, you can't actually sell this, and they were pulled. I luckily found this one at a thrift store. Is the game actually good? I mean, the map is made out of paper. It is a 1970s board game, so what can you expect? And since it has no cool figures, just little gems and stones, I'm kind of tempted to toss this. But it is a cool piece of illicit, of Lord of the Rings history. I'm probably going to end up going through and getting rid of some of these board games to make room for these ones. Or at least I will clean this little bottom shelf area, which has a bunch of hodgepodge things together. But we'll have to see. If you want to know about any of these board games, let me know in the comments. Alright, I gotta bring my year's supply of Lego upstairs, and this whole bag is my November haul, so we're gonna see if we're gonna do another month haul at the end of this. These two have to stay there because they block the stairs, because otherwise Pepper will climb it, and she's not allowed right now. The worst part is I'm going to put these upstairs for now, but I know they're coming right back downstairs because the next video I want to make is how to organize Lego. I almost forgot about these guys. I mostly got these on eBay. There are a couple more that I have. I'll show you a full collection if you desire in the future. And of course, the poop monster. Alright, most of that pile is gone. Now I just gotta get rid of the stragglers. I got these at the Dollar Tree because I thought they were so cool and they're plastic, but I haven't found a use for them. Alright, now we are ready to actually look at the bookshelves. Speaking of which, this whole thing is DIY. There's no fireplace, the whole thing's fake. If you take a close look, it becomes pretty obvious. That's just a light bulb. I think it'd be much cooler if I had a little fire projector like you see in some Halloween areas. I'll keep my eye out for that. Now, what exactly is the objective here? My objective for nerdy cool things is I want it to look like it's maybe just a regular cool artifact or decor piece to people who don't know what it is. But for the people who do know what it is, they're pointing and they're like, oh my goodness, that's such and such. A great example of this would be this little planter right here, which to anybody goes, oh, that's a really cool little concrete planter of a head. But to people who know, this is Sellen's head from Elden Ring, and she normally has green crystals on the top. Another example would be, for those who don't know, this looks like an interesting kind of Fabergé egg-esque deal going on. But for those who do know, that's a precursor orb. For those who don't know, this is just a very strange antique box. But for those who do know, this is a Silent Hill box. And in fact, it's got all the Silent Hill games inside. The problem is, not all of this works. Like, I think I could get away with a little Bioshock diorama in here because it's in a nice container and it looks nice and complete, a beautiful scene, but I'm not sure I could get away with these Minecraft cubes. What used to go right here was the statue of Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, and while it is a very cool statue and I very much enjoy it, I don't think it passes the, let's say, quality check. Cool ornamental decoration. Cool wooden decoration. Plastic. This Ellie that I made kind of toes the line because is it a, plastic figure? Yes. But does it look like an art piece with, a nice trimmed base and a whole emotional scene going on? Also, yes. The fact that I snuck in one of my favorite childhood series is easily placed because they're books and they're on a bookshelf. However, the plastic Spider-Man DVDs do not fit very well. Which is why for all the games I wanted to display, I attempted to make their series look like a fake book. Well, try to make it look like a real book as much as possible, but it is a fake book. I made a video about this one. This is Mark III. Mark I had a 3D printed book end to it, or a spine, and a top, but it was just paper on the sides and didn't turn out very well. Mark II was just paper. This one turned out pretty okay, but it does get very wavy, and you can see it's just blue on the top. This is Mark III, and I'm actually working on Mark IV right now. Hopefully you agree, though, when I say this looks much better than that. I do have some really old projects that I did a long time ago. This one contains the whole Avatar series. This one has Adventure Time comics inside. I do want to redo these just because this one I did like, I don't know, 10 years ago, and this one I did about 5 years ago. The big problem with these ones is they're not as clean as I would like them to be. Like the fonts on this, yikes. You'll probably also notice I don't have a lot of Lego downstairs. I mean, I do when they're in giant piles ready to be sorted, but right now I only have these two, and for those of you freaking out, unfortunately, no, this is not real Lego. I foolishly bought this set many years ago on eBay thinking it was a great deal, but as you can tell, not real Lego. I still built it, it was fun, looks nice, but it's not the real thing. That's Lego. The only two other examples are this little Lego Disney Castle, which I really want to switch out for maybe like a wooden Disney Castle. I think that'd be really cool. And this bouquet, I put it in this new vase. It is very tall. I need to extend the stems and maybe put some quote-unquote water at the bottom. Some cool little extras about these bookshelves is I actually made little shelves at the bottom. This holds all the Wii stuff. And that one holds all the PlayStation stuff. So right now, I think the most important step we can do is plan. I'm going to take out all of the stuff that I can, and we're going to see what looks nice where. There's definitely a bunch of stuff I want to take out. For instance, I have not played Overwatch in years, and I heard it's really bad now. Note number 1, I really need to dust. Note number 2, I did leave some things in here. For instance, this is plugged in, that's where it's gonna go. I also enjoy my PlayStation Evolution up there. That's the only place that they fit. And plus, I've had a PlayStation 1 that is my original PlayStation 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. I may end up removing these altogether, we will see. Speaking of things remaining where they're at, I'm keeping that there, and I'm going to keep this up there too. I'm just going to dust it off. I wish I had one that looked more wood than plastic, but here we are. This is actually a cookie jar. Alright, I'm going to dust, and I'm going to go through the things that I want to keep on here, and the things we're going to get rid of, and yada yada. I'm also keeping these 3 pieces here, mostly because the light gives it just enough light to, see everything. It kind of casts the little Bioshock people into shadow, but I mean, it's supposed to be a dark and spooky game, so that kind of works for that. This looks nice. You can see the front, you can see a little bit of the top. And this, this is from Resident Evil. Is it really a decor piece? Well, I mean, it looks realistic enough. You're definitely not looking at that and going, that's, a plastic McDonald's toy. And it's supposed to light up, and we'll talk about that later. Now, there are a couple of rules when you're decorating. I'm sure there's hundreds of videos on feng shui, but one of the most important parts about decorating bookshelves is that you are supposed to have some books on there. The 3 main sets of books that I had up there were the Series of Unfortunate Events, which I love and I'm going to keep up there. the Harry Potter books, which personally I'm not a big fan of, but they were nice and displayable, so they were up there, but I'm probably not going to have those anymore. And there's a whole bunch of art books that I have scattered around. I do have the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings series, but they're little leather-bound books, so they're not going to take up as much space, but I'd much rather have those up there on my shelves, proudly displayed. Or I could always do the Mistborn novels and see how that holds up. You also may have noticed that all the stuff on the left bookshelves were like consumable media such as books and movies, whereas those were all game media, playable media, if you will. And since we are in the planning phase, and I do not want to just have regular game cases on there, I'm going to use these as placeholders. Another feng shui thing that I've learned is people like groups of 3. For instance, this looks nice because it's 1, 2, 3. And if you have a group of 3, it's always good to alternate. Group of 3, group of 2, group of 3, group of 2. Unfortunately, that's going to break it, but there's nothing much I can do about that. Oh, this is tough. I don't think that quite looks right there. But, take a look at these art books. You got The Art of the Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. I even got Last of Us American Dreams. I used to have the first 2013 Tomb Raider art book, and I was also really excited about the Elden Ring art books, but then they turned out apparently terrible. So I think Ellie might look good in the center, like that, 1, 2, and then have another something right there. Maybe the precursor orb right here? Yes and no. Yes, does it fit there? Absolutely. But you'll probably notice I do have a warm brown color scheme going on in here, and I do believe these two are too similar, so maybe not. This is harder than I thought. However, to tie in the warm brown on another level, I have Booker DeWitt's box from the beginning of BioShock Infinite. The inside looks just like in the game, except I have all my BioShock games in here as well. I leaned it forward just a bit using some Lego bricks. The statue of Cole McGrath is pretty cool, but I've only ever played the first 2, Infamous, and I'm not sure if he's getting a spot in, the big display. But since I have him for now and I don't know what's going up there, I'll place him back up there. I'm already out of the fake book, so I just put these as placeholders. They'll get covers eventually. Should I have 4 in here? And I'm tempted to remake covers for them that are more 3-dimensional. But for now, what do you think? 3? I think 3 might be better than the 4. Alright, I think this is how this side is going to look for a little bit. I know I didn't fill out that top shelf, but right now, I think the projects for this side is, if I'm keeping these down here, to make a little one just to fill in this gap. And then cover these books is another project. Cover these, put games in those, find something for up there. Alright, luckily for this side, I think most of the stuff is going to stay the same. This beautiful brown bag has no meaning behind it whatsoever. In fact, it's completely empty, but it's going to sit right down there because it's going to tie that nice warm brown color in. However, we do have a Shield briefcase that came out, I think it was like a special editions Avengers set. It glows blue, but it seems very, almost too clean. I might have to, rub some dirt in it or something like that. Not real dirt, of course. That's gonna go right here. Now, I have a lot of Marvel props, and I really want a coffee table that has a display case at the top, and then I could throw all the artifacts such as, let's see, these ones. The Power Orb, one of the 10 rings, the Green Goblin's bomb. Just, have them nicely displayed there. Because they're also down here for some reason, and it doesn't really make sense. Now, what I have here are some vintage cameras, and the reason I have them is because, I love optics and physics, and it's great to see the engineering design process. This is a version 2 Brownie, a version 3 Brownie, a much newer Brownie, a 620. This one is not the same brand, so it's not a Brownie, but it is really cool. And then we're back to a newer brownie. There we go. And this hides right in the corner. The reason I have them is because like I said, I do love the engineering design process, and plus they're cameras, and this is the consumable media bookshelf. Then, of course, we have A Series of Unfortunate Events, which is a book series. It was also a movie with Jim Carrey, and now a Netflix series. And of course, we got a little spyglass to go with that. I've read all of those except for The Grim Grotto. It was one of those once a year the Scholastic Book Fair comes, and for some reason they were out of this one. Now down here in this corner, we did have these 3 Disney items. We have the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse, we have the Professor from Tarzan, and we have the Lego Castle. And unfortunately, I'm not sure any of these really fit in there very well. Like I would say, I would much rather have a larger wooden Disney castle that goes right there. Yeah, because that doesn't really fill up the space. I mean, with the 3 of them, it's kind of okay. But this is what I was talking about when I said this is becoming more just, plastic instead of actual decor. I feel like if I leave it there, I'm going to forget and never do anything about it. But I've got a lot of other things to do, so I am going to leave it right there for now. I'm going to skip this shelf for a second. I'm going to come up here. We've got the Enchiridion and a little statue of Golb. And just like before, we're going to put that right there for Avatar. And I've got the Bison Whistle and the White Lotus tile. Fun fact, the White Lotus tile was the first thing I ever printed on my 3D printer. Alright, replacing Harry Potter is Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn and the first 2 books of the Stormlight Archive because they're very long and I've only read the first 2. I'll read the rest. No spoilers. I'll get there. This one is hard because as much as I love Marvel, I don't really like how this display looked. But I'm going to try to put some books here and see what we can do. Unfortunately, the Road to Avengers Endgame is actually too big to fit on the shelf. And it does fit nice and snug right there. Now, before I had a stack of movies with one of the 10 rings and the power orb on it, and that's not going to fit there. And I also have this Green Goblin's pumpkin bomb, but the square container does not do it justice. I wish... Actually, I'll probably go get a small bell jar, make a little tiny stand that goes up, and then have it floating in the center of it. But that's a project for another time. I guess we could put the idol back up here where it was. I wish it had a Indiana Jones book, something to stack it on, because I think by itself, with this quote-unquote Holy Grail that looks nothing like the Holy Grail, I think it's just a little plain like that. I mean, it's fine. This Holy Grail has a bunch of coins in it, like the coins from John Wick. Nah, mediocre. Alright, the last thing is the mantle. Now, the weekend after Halloween, I went out and I bought these skeletons at half off from Walmart. I painted them up. I made them look all... well, like that. I even turned this one's head so they can both be facing in and looking at you. But I think it's both not enough and too much. I think they're too big, just big enough where they pass the corners of the screen and therefore they seem too intrusive for their size. If they were taller, I think it might have worked, but I don't think they can go here. Now this plant, which is very dusty and fake and also has been here for a long time, I do believe is a good choice to remain there, mostly because otherwise there's no sense of plants or greenery other than that one. I think Salon's head is going to still be beside it, just like that. Have the little gargoyle statue that unlocks secret rooms, and that's going to go right there. Now right here, I have this. And as you can see, it doesn't really make that great of an impact right now, but at IKEA, they have a nice, really tall bell jar that I think is going to fit right around it, and it's going to give it a little bit of gold, and I think that's going to look nice. Did I go all the way to IKEA just for these bell jars? I'll never say. Do people call these bell jars or cloches? Cloche? C-L-O-C-H-E? Cloche? Cloche. I have to wonder if this still works. It's been... When did No Way Home come out? A year ago? 2 years ago? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it still works. Right there. There we go. Now I just need that tall thing. Here's the bad news. Yep. I got it to fit. Not well, but it fits. And that's what it looks like all together. Now here's my big question. I've got the big light on, which you know you should never have on right now, but I want it to be nice and bright. I've got those two little lamps up there that shine down in evening mode, but a lot of these objects, like you saw with the Goblin Bomb and this, light up. So I was thinking it might be in the realm of possibilities to have like a third mode where everything's dark except for the lights and things like that. Lights up, I could put a little light there. It would be a lot of work, a doable amount though. The big concern is like this Green Goblin Bomb right now is removable and battery powered and you can turn it on. However, if it becomes wired, then you can't really move it from this spot. But do you think it'd be worth it to wire a bunch of these? Like wire those sonic screwdrivers so they all light up? I think it might look really, really cool. But like I said, you wouldn't be able to really move anything. Alright, let me know in the comments. And this is all the stuff I've currently removed. Not bad. A good declutter. Oh, and these, yeah. This is the newest book. There's no back or front, unfortunately. That's for when I get a Cricut. But the side of it is 3D printed just like these. It's just much more shallow and a much higher detail. And I think that looks really nice. Alright, a quick look. That's fine. That's good. This is okay. Need to touch those up. Get something over here. Good. Good. Bad. Bad. Good. 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 Missing. Project. Good. 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 Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. Have a good one. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the bell. Alright, see ya.